Hello world, welcome back to Razor RC. Just want to shoot another video today talking about basher tips for the Team Associated Pro SC10 RTR two-wheel drive short course truck. So I've been driving this truck for a few months now, and actually Team Associated has announced the SC6.1, which is coming out I think today. Probably going to pick one of those up and use that as a race truck. And so what I've been doing is basically converting my Pro SC10 into a basher only truck. So I wanted to share some tips and tricks that I've sort of picked up along the way, and some changes I made that have really improved the performance of the truck and might help you out as well. So first of all, you definitely need to get the right tires for a basher. My personal favorite is the Proline Badlands. These work really well on any sort of loose outdoor dirt. You know, if you're running at a BMX track or a construction site or just sort of a dirt lot or a baseball diamond or whatever, those are really good tires, really good all-terrain tires. Give you a lot of traction in pretty much any sort of dirt condition. If you want something that works a little better on road, the Proline trenches are pretty good. You know, these you're definitely not going to want to run on road just because it's going to wear down those knobs really fast. So the trenchers are a little bit better for on road, although you know, that's still not ideal for just all road driving. But today I'm pretty much talking about more off-road driving that you want to do when you're sort of doing general purpose bashing. So I'm going to go through my truck real quick and talk about the changes I made. So first of all, the shocks. As you can see, I'm running shock covers. These are made by Horsie.com, and the shock covers I bought, let me show you right here, is the medium shock covers. So these will fit the shocks really well and the springs really well. You cut them to length. I think they're about $10 or $12, and basically keep all the dirt and dust and junk off of your shock shafts to basically keep your shocks a lot cleaner, keeps the seals a lot more fresh, and the oils from getting contaminated quite so easily. So definitely recommend those. In terms of springs, I'm actually running kind of a weird set of springs, but up front I'm actually running these new 61 millimeter rear springs. So up front I actually have blue rear springs, rear buggy springs, and these are basically meant for like the B6.1. So these are buggy springs for the rear, but I'm running up front just because I like these just because they're a little bit progressive, and they're also quite soft, so you can actually get a little more softer shock action up front. They're also a little bit longer, which fits the shocks a heck of a lot better than you know, other types of springs. In the rear, I'm actually running TLR springs. So in the rear, I'm running these. These are TLR 5162. So these are rear shock springs for the 22T. Unfortunately, these have been discontinued, so they're a little bit hard to find, but they're a really nice soft spring, give you a lot of traction in the rear. They're also the right length, you know, a little bit longer than regular buggy springs, so they fit the shocks a lot better than other types of springs. So, you know, if you can get a set of those, I recommend finding those. They work really well for me. And then in terms of shock oil, I'm running 32.5 weight Associated up front and 25 weight Associated oil in the rears, and that's providing nice damping action. So that's what I got shock package wise. I'm also running shocks outer in the front and then outer in the rear. But in the rear, I'm actually running T5 arms, T5M arms or SC5M arms. They just basically have an extra hole for mounting the shocks, although I'm not actually using them. So if you can't find the Pro SC10 arms, you can also get the T5M or SC5M arms. They're the same, actually have an additional hole. On the downside, they are not reversible, so you have a left and right arm, but they provide more shock mounting options. So other stuff in the front that I've made is obviously these ball stud covers. So these little foam pieces basically keep your ball studs a little bit cleaner, keeps grime and dirt out of them a little bit better, although there's still holes on the top, so you can get a little bit of dirt that way. But these are cheap, and I'll put down the part number below, but just keep your ball studs a little bit cleaner and keeps them from binding quite as much. Another change I made up front is basically going to a 30-degree bulkhead, or hinge pin brace. So here's the stock hinge pin brace. It's 25 degrees. It's basically the same as the B5 part, but you can also get a 30-degree part. So I actually bought a set of the B5 bulkheads There's a part number 91364. And these come with two bulkheads, basically 30 degree, 25 degree. Obviously the 25 degree, you know, you're not going to use because it's the same as the existing one. But I'm using a 30 degree, although I did have to make some slight modifications. So number one, oops, dropped it here. But number one, basically, you can see on the B5 piece, it's kind of got this sort of piece sticking out that the stock piece does not have. So the stock piece does not have that little extra groove. Let me move this out of the way so you can see a little bit better. But yeah, basically you're going to have to just cut off that little tab right here on top, these two tabs. I just used a hobby knife and chopped them off. Be careful with that, but you don't need those. Those will actually stick out a little too far. And then the second thing is the holes that are on the B5 part are actually, I think, 2 millimeter or 2.5 millimeter holes, but you'll need to open them up a little bit to get 3 millimeter holes. So I just used a little drill bit and just cleaned them out a little bit just to make them a little bit larger so you can actually fit the M3 screws in the front. But otherwise they're exactly identical. So what the 30 degree thing does is basically give you a little more front kick up. So basically the front arm is going to be at more of an angle. So the front arms are not exactly just flat and parallel to the ground. They're actually kicked up a little bit like this. And so stock is 25 degrees, 30 degrees brings them up a little bit more and basically makes them a little more forgiving in the bumps and rocks and stuff like that. So they're basically, when you hit, you know, basically divots and crevices and stuff like that, it's basically not going to bounce the suspension quite as much. Basically ride through all that rough terrain a little more smoothly and not get knocked around quite as much. So definitely recommend 30 degree front kick up. Provide you a little bit of smoothness more through the rough stuff. Other stuff going on. In the rear, I'm actually running a little bit more toe, so a little bit hard to see here. But I'm actually running an aluminum C-block there. Let's see if I can kind of point you up there. So yeah, basically right down there, I'm running the aluminum C-block, which uses a set of inserts and allows you to change the toe and anti-squat. So the parts for that is basically aluminum arm mount 91383, and then you also need the arm mount inserts 91385. And so what the inserts are basically a bunch of these little plastic pieces that let you change what the actual values are. So it's actually running, let me see if I can focus in. So you know, you can change to like 3, 0 or 2.5, 1 or whatever. So what I'm running is actually 3.5 degrees of toe in. So rear toe basically points the rear tires in a little bit more in the back. Basically locks in the rear end a little bit more, gives you a little more forward traction, doesn't tend to slide around as much. And I left the anti-squat the same at 1 degree. And that's basically just kind of helps lock in the rear, gives you a little more stability, lets you drive forward a little better rear traction. Moving on, I'm also running the aluminum rear hexes. So the stock hexes are plastic. I just like running aluminums because they bite into the wheels a little bit better. They tend not to strip out quite as much, and not the cheapest thing. I think they're somewhere around $16 or $18, but definitely a lot more durable than the plastic ones. And so also moving on to the rear, I did change out the rear diff oil. So on the track I was running about 7K or so. I've actually doubled that to 15K, so somewhere between 15 and 20K rear diff fluid is going to be about right. It's basically not going to diff out quite as much, basically move the car forward a little bit better and give you a little more forward traction. So definitely recommend that as well. And I think that's pretty much it for my changes. So truck's driving a lot better in the rough stuff, driving a lot more traction, a little more stable, easier, more forgiving to drive, and basically those are the parts I've been using. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to my channel as always if you haven't already, and look for more videos soon. I'm gonna hopefully be picking up the SC6.1 tomorrow or Wednesday, and then do an unboxing video on that and show you what that looks like. So anyways, thanks for watching. Take care guys, and we'll see you soon.